Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm your host, Larry Ziliox, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And this week, our guests are the Emami sisters. They are two young women who've started a blog called We Signed Up To. They are military children, and in keeping with our theme this month of the Military Children's Month, we wanted to have them as guests to tell us about the blog and everything that hoping to accomplish. And all this, I looked at the blog, I read just about everything on it, and it's got some great little videos. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but I just wanted you to take turns and introduce yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about the fact that you guys have been guests here way back when you were much shorter, back in 2018. We'll just go through all of that. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. My name is Azara Emami.
And I'm Sinaiyah. Thank you so much for having us.
So tell us a little bit about your memory of the time that you guys came and stayed here with us back in 2018.
Well, I think our favorite part was definitely the family time. Coming here, it's different than being at home because you really are able to do things that you can't normally do on a normal day-to-day basis. Personally, my favorite part was the books you guys had. Oh my gosh. We're big readers at our house, and so I just loved spending time looking at those. I actually found Nancy Drew books there, and you guys let us take home some books, and that started my obsession. So now I have the whole collection, actually.
Wow.
From just being there.
Wow. Great. And what did you think about coming here to the retreat?
I was really excited because I was like, ooh, there's a new place to explore. And I was all about exploring when I was younger. So I would go outside and be like, oh, I see an animal. I was my own little explorer, and I got to go into my own little world, and we were able to relax and have fun and bond together.
And so you guys came because your dad was part of the Soldier Recovery Unit at Walter Reed. It got you kind of out of that environment and gave you a chance to just sort of set that aside and say, hey, here's some time for us as a family. I was looking back through the pictures. You guys were so much younger now. Well, how old are you?
I'm 14.
14, and you're...
I'm 16.
16, wow. So you're driving.
Yes, well, I'm learning
okay.
to drive.
All right. So what kind of car is your dad going to get you?
Well, he's going to give me his Jeep.
Okay.
So I'm happy about that.
Nice. Very good. And you'll be able to drive your sister around.
She's excited about that, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, listen, it's so good to have you guys back here at the retreat. It's always a special time for us when we have previous guests come back and either take a look at the changes that have gone on or sometimes sit down for a podcast. I've done a number of podcast episodes with previous guests, but I'm really excited about having you guys here to talk about your new blog, this We Signed Up To. I think it's an amazing resource because there really isn't anything out there for military children of wounded warriors. There's resources for military children, but we sort of adopt the same thing that the Dole Foundation does and look upon children as the hidden heroes and the impact. We're very much aware of the impact that a parent's injuries or illness has on the family as a whole, because you have to step up and maybe provide some care or step up and just accept that your routine in your life that you were used to is all jumbled up around your parents' illness. And so it's quite a testament to you guys that you've found your way through that, and now you're ready to launch this blog and help other children of wounded warriors. And I just think that's so great. So where did the idea come from?
Well, we have been, it was really interesting because when you're a military kid, you go through what a military kid goes through. You have moves. You have your parents going on TDYs. But especially when your parent was wounded and when they retire and you're thrown into it's like you're being thrown into a whole different population. So Azara and I kind of realized that the population of children of wounded, ill, and injured veterans are overlooked a lot because you have a lot of resources for the veteran, you have resources for the spouse, the caregiver, but there's not a lot put into these children that live with these veterans and these family members. And so we wanted to make something that would serve two purposes: to bring awareness to their situation while also bringing community to them. Because you can feel very lonely. You don't know. It can feel like there's no one out there that knows what you're going through. So that's what we wanted to do with We Signed Up Too.
Yeah. We wanted to sort of make a community for them so that even if they don't have friends close by them, if they just made a big, hard move, they can still have an online community and they can make friends and they can read about very thought-provoking things. They can make crafts, just an online community.
Sure. And where do you see the blog going? What's the focus?
The end goal is to sort of make time for events. So even if people don't live in the same areas, just we can set up events in specific areas so these kids can actually meet in person and they can actually make long-lasting friendships.
And connections, right? To be able to really, with our blog, if they're able to meet online, to be able to one day hopefully see, wait, I didn't know that this person lived 20 minutes from me. And really, you're just to show these kids are not alone. This population is very small. And we want these kids to know there are others out there.
Well, you're dead on in the fact that, there's resources for the family when you're talking about an active duty soldier. But once the separation happens, there's resources for veterans through the VA or state resources or county resources and the caregiver, but nothing for children. And you're just sort of left on your own to try and figure out that next chapter. And I think that what you're doing is just amazing because you're laying the groundwork to have a sort of template to say, hey, when your mom or dad is separated and goes before the medical board and gets medical retirement, this is what your next chapter in life is going to look like. And we're here as a community to help. And you've got some videos up. So what are you looking for going forward? Is it going to be more content that is written or more content that's visual like the videos, or a combination of both?
Well, so there is actually a separation in those two. The first part, which is the blog, that's my sister's area. And she's posting articles for kids more like 11 and up, while I will be posting videos every other week with crafts. And this is for kids like 10 and under. And so there is going to be a separation. So when these younger kids have some siblings, they can go and read the blog while their younger siblings are watching the videos. So I don't think that we might collaborate later on.
Yeah, and we wanted it to be so that we can cater to every age. So no matter what age you are, there is a place for you. Now, especially with the articles, we want to focus on issues that face military kids while also bringing awareness to different organizations that are already existing. So we have one of my favorite places on the blog is actually a resource page where we have compiled all different types of resources like Bull Run, where they have been able to serve these families. So when kids come onto our website, they can find these resources so that they're right there to maybe share with their family members and that they can take part in these.
So who pays for this, Dad?
We actually we have been trying to have fundraisers. So our family, we held a fundraiser in August of last year, but it definitely is not, there are some financial, it was very hard to kind of go about it, but we've been able to have fundraisers to hold, to be able to host this.
And I understand the problem is that you guys are not like a nonprofit entity, so it's hard to make a donate button up in the corner. I really do want you to find a way to finance it, because it's the only way you're going to grow. And we can help promote that for sure. Because every time I do have a veteran service organization on, I'm always telling everybody to hit that button up in the top right-hand corner, because that's where they all are, and they're all red, and you hit it and you donate what you can. We just need to find a way to finance your operation. You know, you don't want to saddle dad with it, forever.
Right.
What do you see in the young folks that come to your blog, and is there a monthly newsletter associated with it, or is there an email list to sign up for? How do you communicate with them to get new people registered?
Yes, so we have a monthly newsletter that we always send out. We also have a Connect with Us page where kids can put their emails in and just send us an email. Yeah, well, we were actually thinking of making another page, which is like a Chat with Us page. So we were thinking of setting a date where we would either make a Zoom meeting or something so that kids can get on, and instead of just like a questionnaire, we can just have a time to chat. So anything that these kids want to say, we can just talk with them. So so to sign up for our blog, we have also an email list page where they can just add their email and they'll get our monthly newsletter.
Yeah, the greatest way we're trying to bring awareness about this is by word of mouth. So every time we talk about the blog, it's usually, sign up for our email list. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. But our greatest goal, especially for Azara and I, because we're children of wounded, ill, and injured veterans, so we're kind of still walking through what these kids that are coming to our blog are walking through as well. We're going through the exact same things. So the biggest thing is just so that we can build relationships with these kids while also thinking about safety. I mean, this is online. It's not always safe. And Azara and I are working to figure out how we can make the blog as safe as we can while being online.
What's the address of the blog so all our listeners can go and see it?
Well, you can look us up at wesignup2.com.
Right. Okay. And that's where our listeners can get your newsletter. Okay, good. When you think about the challenges that young people who are children of wounded warriors face, what would you say is the number one challenge that they face today?
Well, it does depend, because I think one very main issue is either loneliness or just sadness. Sadness is a regular thing. Many people face it. But there is a different type of sadness when it comes to these children. They have sadness coming from feeling lonely. They have sadness from feeling like, oh, my parents don't need me, or why is my dad always so angry at me? Why is my mom always jumping at me? They just are very confused. We don't understand.
Right. And I think I want to second that, because loneliness is a big thing. These kids, we're going into school every day and you're around your peers, but not a lot of peers know what you're going through. There's also, I would say, loss, because loss comes in different forms, but I think with Azara and I, it's the loss of some childhood memories as well, because these kids are thrown into a life and they're dealing with things that children normally don't deal with. And so they have to grow up much faster. So they're facing challenges like that. And also they're living in a house that sometimes, and I think the biggest thing is when a parent is injured, sometimes there's not a lot of talk around that. Like, we've had friends that talking about a parent's injuries is unheard of in their household. And so there's a lot of miscommunication when it comes to that. And that's why we were really thankful for what our parents did, was they always educated us. They were very open. Like, this is what dad's going through. This is what mom struggles with, because that's big for the kids to know. By sharing this with kids, it really helps them understand where their parents are coming from. So when that's not being happening, there's not a lot of communication.
So do you think that when some parents believe that it's best for the children to be shielded from this, that it's actually more harmful, that the inclusion in the complete understanding of the situation is more beneficial for the children than trying to shield them from it?
I think there are, of course, things you share and things you don't share, but there's definitely, I think it's good. I know that with my parents, they always kept that communication open. They didn't jump it on us. It wasn't like when my dad came home, okay, this is what's happening. It was very gradual. And I think the biggest thing is to keep communication open.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what is missing a lot. There's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of open communication. So that leads to a lot of wariness when it comes to that. Like, do I say this? Do we discuss this? So I think it definitely depends, but it really helped my sister and I with dealing with what our family was going through because it brought us together.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that we were fighting this together. We know how to support our parents and that.
Mm-hmm. You know, we see families here sometimes that it's sort of obvious that it's almost as though their home life is similar to that of a child of an alcoholic parent, where they go to school, sometimes seek that refuge, maybe go to their friend's house, but they never have their friend to their house because they don't know if mom and dad is going to be okay that day, if there's going to be yelling, if there's going to be an issue that's going to scare somebody. And their life is totally different. And one of the things we so strongly focus on here is inclusion of the entire family in every activity, because it's the basis of healing. And we know that the children serve right along with the warrior, and the whole family serves. And it's so important that our listeners go to we signed up to.com and read this, sign up for the newsletter. Eventually, hopefully soon, there's going to be a way for you to donate
Mm-hmm.
and to fund this so that it reaches more military children. And if you know a child of a wounded warrior, you want to send them a link to this blog. They need to be on this blog in this community, because that's what it's turning into, which I think is really going to be the heart of this organization. And eventually I'd like to see it become a nonprofit.
Yes.
And, you know, you guys will graduate, go to college, get your MBAs, and be the head of this organization. Nothing wrong with that. And because this is so clearly overlooked. There's nobody else out there like you guys doing this. And that's why I'm so happy that you came and sat down with us today to record this, to let everybody know that, these children are out there and they need help, and they need to be able to connect with their peers to say, like you said in the beginning, you're not alone. That, most of the wounded warriors that get medically separated and leave the military have families, and it's an adjustment for everybody. And it's not like a month or two after your parent separates, or that everything is normal and everything's integrated into the community like everybody else. And it's just not that way, because now your parents got to find their way to navigate through civilian life and the ups and downs of that, trying to figure out a way to deal with all the things that were provided for you in the military, like a place to live and all sorts of things. And so I'm fearful that in a lot of those cases, the struggle just to integrate into the community means that the children and their needs are often overlooked. And if we can get them connected with you guys so that they have a community where they can Zoom in, and you guys are doing like a weekly 7 p.m. Zoom, and they're there to ask questions and say, geez, what did you guys do when your parents got out? Maybe, you've got even peer mentors. I think the sky's the limit for you all, and I'm just so excited that you came and joined us. What I'd like to do as we sort of wrap this up is I'm going to go to each of you and say, what's the number one thing you want our listeners to know about We Signed Up To?
I think what we want to be represented by, what we want everybody to hear is that you are not alone. And by joining We Signed Up To, hopefully later on you will meet these people who can have lifelong friendships with. You can grow with each other. You can have ideas on how to react when your parents are getting angry, how to help your siblings, how to be a better daughter or be a better son. And just to have a community and know that, like I said, you're not alone.
I think for me, one thing I want someone to walk away from this, and from listening to this interview, is that we are in the same boat as you are. Just because we started this doesn't mean that we're out of the hardship. We're walking through it daily. I mean, like you said, it's not 2 months later, we're done, we're out of that hardship. It follows you. Even when you're out of the house, this is your family. You only get one of them. And so I think I want anyone who's interested in checking out We Signed Up To know that we understand, and we're the same. We understand, we've walked through this, and we just want to be here to really bring friendships and community and just to connect with you, honestly.
Well, I think you're well on your way to doing that. And it's just amazing, the work that you guys are doing. And just to come up with this idea and say, I want to look beyond myself. And I want to say, I want to help people, other kids that are going through the same thing. And I can't think of two better young ladies to do this. This is great. Everybody needs to go to WeSignedUp2.com and share that with at least 2 or 3 people. Send that link out to everybody that you know, and let's get as many people signed up on the mailing list as possible. And so that as new programs come on board, as there's a schedule for the Zooms or there's just some new information, we want to be able to share it as widely as possible. So I can't thank you enough for coming out and sitting down and talking to us about We Signed Up To. It's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Well, for our listeners, we'll have another episode next Monday morning at 0500. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. We're also on YouTube and Wreath Across America Radio. So thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.